Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Wednesday and I've got good news for you. I'm running a little bit behind today. You ever get like that? You get behind, you get running a little bit behind. I got running a little bit behind today. And you know what? It's funny because I'm running a little bit behind, but the story I have to tell you, well, it's a story I came across online and I'm a little bit embarrassed to say, but I don't know why I'm embarrassed because the reality is you do it too. You may have even done it and found this video. But we talk about not having time, I'm running behind, all that, and yet we still find time to scroll through those videos online. So anyway, I was scrolling through, yeah, that's me. I was scrolling through some videos online the other day. It was when I had some time, or I thought I did anyway. And I came across this video, and it was this video that was taken of a half marathon race that was happening in Philadelphia. Now, I'm not a marathon runner. Maybe you are. I'm not a half marathon runner. I mean, I've dreamed about it. I've dreamed about running a marathon or a half marathon, and I'd have some work to do. But anyway, I digress. I was scrolling online, like I said. I came across this video, and it was this little clip of the end of this half marathon race. And there was this lady who was well, she was clearly in agony. She was clearly in pain. I could relate to that after running a half marathon, which is like 21 kilometers or so. And she's close. She's like maybe 300 yards from the finish line, 300 meters, whatever. Not far. Like the finish line was pretty much in sight. And yet clearly she was cramping up. She was struggling. She was in pain. She was crying. She was staggering. Like she could hardly, and that's what this video showed. I'm like, wow, isn't that a great video? Wouldn't you love to have your, kind of your pain displayed all over the internet? So I'm thinking, why are they showing this? This poor lady, I felt so bad for her. Then all of a sudden, there's all these people. There's like over 11,000 people running this half marathon race. Like there's that many people that like to run that long. Anyway, so she's running, there's people running by her, everybody's charging ahead for the finish line. And all of a sudden, these two guys come up on either side of her. And according to the video, their names were Brian and Joseph. I jotted their names down because it was just amazing what happened next. So at first, you're seeing this person in immense pain, excruciating pain, stumbling, looks like she's not going to make it to the finish line. And these two guys come up on either side of her. And one takes her on one side, the other takes her on the other side, and they're propping her up. These are runners who, they could have been focused on finishing themselves, but they stopped and they helped. They stopped and they helped this lady who was clearly not going to make it, in serious trouble. And they stopped and they helped her and they tried to carry her towards that finish line. Well, she was in such pain that didn't even help. Even that extra support didn't help. So then one of the guys, his name was Joseph, one of the guys gets behind her. He scoops her up and carries her. Who can do that? Run 21 kilometers and then pick up somebody else and carry that. And he's carrying her towards the finish line. I'm like, this is crazy. This is unbelievable. This is amazing. This is compassion. And so Joseph carries her and he actually puts her down like probably 4 steps away from the finish line so that she can take those last 4 steps across the finish line. And they interviewed him afterwards and he said, listen, she trained hard. She had a goal. She set her mind on it. She was that close and I wasn't going to see her fail. And he just scooped her up and picked her up. And I've been thinking a lot about compassion. And I've been asking our folks on Sunday here at DBC, we were talking about compassion, looking in God's word, seeing that the heart of God is a heart of compassion, that our God is full of compassion. And we can see the heart of God when we see Jesus and when we see him interacting with the compassion that he had. And I'm thinking there is an example of compassion. There is an example of somebody going out of their way, being moved and going out of their way to help someone else. This guy, this Joseph, he didn't even know this lady. In fact, they didn't even name the lady. And so, it could have been a very embarrassing thing, but they didn't even name her. The focus was on the compassion that Joseph had that led him to do that. And it got me thinking, as I've been thinking about compassion, it got me thinking. Last night I was hanging out with our Quest kids here, our midweek program, and I was with a bunch of kids, and we were talking about the parable of the Good Samaritan. You may know that parable, you may not. It's in the Bible in Luke chapter 10. Some of us, it's very familiar, and people that don't even know the Bible, you might have heard about the Good Samaritan. There was a couple people that walked by somebody in need, somebody that was laying on the side of the road in need. Two people walked by, but the Good Samaritan stopped. And this is what Luke chapter 10, verse 33 says. So this is in the context of this story of the Good Samaritan. There's a person laying at the side of the road. He's been hurt. He's been robbed. He needs help. Two people cross the road, walk on the other side. They see him, but they're not moved to act. They're not moved to do anything. But what we read about the Good Samaritan in Luke chapter 10, verse 33 is, but a Samaritan, while traveling, came upon him, and when he saw him, he was moved with compassion. He was moved with compassion. And so he did something about it. The story of the Good Samaritan goes on that the Samaritan got down and helped and bandaged him up and put him on his donkey and carried him on the rest of the way, took him to a safe place to stay, made sure he was going to be well taken care of. You see, the Good Samaritan was moved with compassion. Joseph, as he was so focused on running 21 kilometers, but he saw this lady in need, and he was moved with compassion. And friends, as I was watching that I would say a good news, feel-good video online, and as I was thinking about this parable of the Good Samaritan, I realized that one of the things with compassion is compassion takes time. Compassion takes time. We have to be able to slow down, maybe even stop our race or stop what we're doing in any given moment to show compassion. That's one of the challenges we have with compassion, is compassion takes time. And we have to find time to be compassionate. We have to find time to be compassionate because that's what we're called to be. We're called to be compassionate. And I don't know about you, but I want somebody, if I'm in trouble, if I'm in need, if I'm struggling, if I'm having one of those days where I'm running the race and I need a little bit of help, I need someone to come alongside and prop me up, I pray they have the time. I pray they take the time. But that's one of the challenges we have if we're go, and very focused on our goals and our finish line, is that we don't always make the time. We don't always find the time to be compassionate. So I just want to encourage you today. I wanted to tell you those two quick stories. The story about Joseph carrying that woman right to the finish line so that she could finish the race. And the story of the Good Samaritan. And they remind us in both cases, those individuals were moved with compassion. And they were moved to act. And they made the time to do it. You see, compassion starts with a feeling. But if it ends there, it's really not compassion. Compassion starts with a feeling, but it results in action. And that's what we see in both those stories. And it requires us, compassion requires us to make time. It takes time. And so I want to encourage you today. I want to encourage you to find the time. If you can find the time to scroll through the internet, find this video even. Can you find the time? Can you make the time? Can you take the time to show compassion? You see, sometimes we think we have to have a lot of money to help people. We have to have a lot of skills, and we have to be good at this or good at that. And I want to just say to you today, to be compassionate, it takes time. And quite honestly, it takes time, and it takes maybe our ears. Listening is a key aspect of compassion. To show compassion, we have to make the time to listen. And so I pray that you'll do that today. And I pray that if you're out there today and you're struggling to finish the race, you're in intense pain, that I pray that someone will make the time to listen and be compassionate towards you today. God bless you. Peace be with you. Thanks for spending a few moments with me today.